Have you ever stopped to consider that one inescapable truth we all share? I'm talking about aging. It's a concept so fundamental, so deeply woven into the fabric of existence, that we often take it for granted. We see it etched in the lines, on our faces, feel it in the ache of our joints, and witness it in the changing reflections in the mirror. But what is aging, really? Why does it happen? Is there anything we can do about it? For millennia, humanity has been captivated by the allure of eternal youth, the fountain of life. From ancient myths of gods and goddesses who lived forever, to alchemists seeking the elixir of immortality, the desire to cheat death has been a constant thread in the human story. We've told tales of magical artifacts, hidden springs, and secret rituals, all promising to grant us more time, more life. These stories, while fantastical, point to a very real, very human yearning to understand and overcome the limitations of our mortal existence. But beyond the myths and legends, the science of aging has emerged as a fascinating and rapidly evolving field of study. Today, researchers are delving into the very depths of our cells, exploring the complex biological processes that contribute to the aging process. They're investigating the role of our genes, the impact of our environment, and the potential of cutting-edge technologies to not just extend our lifespan, but also to enhance our health span, the years we live in good health. The mystery of aging is multi-layered. It's not simply a matter of our bodies wearing down over time, like a machine that eventually breaks down. It's a much more intricate and dynamic process involving a complex interplay of factors at the cellular, genetic, and environmental levels. Our cells accumulate damage, our DNA becomes less stable, our immune system weakens, and our bodies become more vulnerable to disease. But these are just symptoms of a deeper, more fundamental process. Think of your body as a magnificent, intricate clock. Each tick and tock represents a biological process, a cellular function, a metabolic reaction. Over time, these mechanisms begin to slow down, become less precise, and eventually start to malfunction. This isn't just about physical decline either. Aging affects our cognitive abilities, our emotional well-being, and our overall quality of life. And the truth is, aging affects everyone differently. Some people seem to age gracefully, maintaining their vitality and cognitive function well into their later years. Others experience a more rapid decline, succumbing to age-related diseases and disabilities at a younger age. Why is this? What accounts for these differences? Part of the answer lies in our genes. We inherit a certain predisposition to longevity, a genetic blueprint that influences how quickly or slowly we age. But our genes are not our destiny. Our lifestyle choices, our diet, our exercise habits, our sleep patterns, and our stress levels also play a significant role in shaping our aging trajectory. The environment we live in also exerts a powerful influence. Exposure to pollution, toxins, and other environmental stressors can accelerate the aging process, damaging our cells and increasing our risk of age-related diseases. The air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat, all of these factors can impact our health and longevity. But perhaps the most exciting aspect of aging research is the potential for intervention. Scientists are now exploring a range of strategies to slow down the aging process, to prevent age-related diseases, and to extend both our lifespan and our health span. These include everything from lifestyle interventions, like caloric restriction and exercise, to cutting-edge technologies, like senolytics, regenerative medicine, and gene therapy. Imagine a future where we can not only live longer, but also stay healthier and more vibrant throughout our lives. A future where age-related diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and heart disease are largely preventable. A future where we can enjoy more years of active, fulfilling lives, contributing to society and pursuing our passions. That future may not be as far off as we think. The pace of aging research is accelerating, with new discoveries being made every day. Scientists are now identifying key pathways and mechanisms that control the aging process, opening up new avenues for intervention. Of course, the quest for Longevity also raises important ethical considerations. What are the societal implications of extending human lifespan? How will we ensure that these technologies are accessible to everyone, not just the wealthy and privileged? And how do we balance the desire for a longer life with the need to maintain quality of life and respect for the natural aging process? These are complex questions that we need to grapple with as a society as we move forward in our understanding of aging. But one thing is clear: the science of aging offers the potential to transform our lives in profound ways. It's a journey of discovery that touches upon the very essence of what it means to be human. So, join me as we embark on this exploration of the biology of aging. We'll delve into the cellular mechanisms, the genetic factors, the environmental influences that shape our aging process. We'll examine the latest research, the emerging theories, and the potential interventions that could help us live longer, healthier lives. It's a fascinating journey, full of surprises and possibilities. Let's unlock the secrets of aging together. So what does it actually mean to get old? It's a question that's plagued humanity for, well, pretty much all of human history. See it happening all around us, to our loved ones, to ourselves in the mirror. But pinning down a solid scientific definition of aging is surprisingly tricky. It's not just about wrinkles and gray hair, although those are certainly visible signs. Aging is far more complex and nuanced than just the external changes we observe. Think about it. When do we start aging? Is it when we reach a certain age? On a calendar? Obviously not. A 20-year-old can be aging just as much as an 70-year-old, just at a much slower rate. Aging is a gradual process. It's happening constantly at a cellular and molecular level from the moment we're born. The simple answer is the progressive decline in function that occurs over time. We're built to function at our best for a certain period, and then something kicks in, and the functionality goes downhill. This decline manifests in a variety of ways. It could be a reduced ability to repair damage, a weakening of the immune system, or a decreased capacity to adapt to stress. All these changes make us more susceptible to disease and ultimately death. Now, some people define aging as a time-dependent, biological process. It's a process that inevitably leads to functional decline and increased vulnerability to death. This definition helps to narrow things down because aging is related to a decline in health and how we function, but even this is a bit too simplistic. We can refine this further by saying that aging is characterized by 1. A gradual loss of physiological integrity, leading to 2. Impaired function, and 3. Increased vulnerability to death. This means that aging is not just about the passage of time, but it's really about what that passage of time does to our bodies. It's about the accumulated damage and the gradual erosion of our biological systems. Now, why is a clear definition important? Well, first, it helps us distinguish aging from disease. While age is the biggest risk factor for many diseases, like heart disease, cancer, and Alzheimer's, aging itself isn't a disease. It's a process that makes us more vulnerable to disease. Knowing the difference is essential for targeted research and treatment. This is also important to distinguish that the presence of one specific disease does not directly mean that someone is aging more. Rather, aging more simply means that the risk of a person developing diseases increases. Second, a solid definition provides a framework for research. If we want to understand how aging works and how to potentially slow it down, we need a clear target. We need to know what we're trying to influence. A vague or ill-defined concept of aging makes it much harder to design effective experiments and interpret the results. Third, precise definition helps in developing and evaluating interventions. So if we are able to manipulate certain variables to lower the likelihood of diseases, then that is a huge advancement. A precise definition also helps with comparing different interventions. If we have a standard for what we are measuring, we can compare different methods to measure which interventions are better for longer living or lower risk of diseases. You will also hear a lot of terminology around aging and what that means. Some terms can be asterisk lifespan. This is simply the length of time an organism lives. The average lifespan is often used as a measure of overall health and well-being in a population. Health span. This is the period of life spent in good health, free from disease and disability. The goal of many aging-related interventions is to extend health span, not just lifespan. After all, living longer isn't much use if those extra years are spent in poor health. Asterisk senescence. This refers to cellular aging, the process by which cells lose their ability to divide and function properly. Senescent cells can accumulate in tissues and contribute to age-related diseases. Asterisk. Geroscience, the study of aging and age-related diseases, with the aim of developing interventions that can improve health span and lifespan. Now let's circle back to those visible signs of aging. Wrinkles, gray hair, decreased muscle mass. These are all superficial manifestations of deeper, more complex processes. They're the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. What's happening beneath the surface is a cascade of molecular and cellular changes that ultimately lead to the decline in function we associate with aging as we age. Our DNA accumulates damage, our cells become less efficient at repairing themselves. Our immune system weakens, and our hormonal balance shifts. These changes interact in complex ways, contributing to a gradual breakdown of the body's systems. So, aging is not just a single event but a complex interplay of multiple factors that all contribute to the phenotype. It's important to understand that aging is not uniform. It doesn't happen at the same rate for everyone, and it doesn't affect all tissues and organs equally. People age more gracefully than others, and some organs are more vulnerable to age-related decline. The reasons for this variability are complex and involve a combination of genetics, lifestyle, and environmental factors. In the following sections, we will dive into these individual factors. Have you ever stopped to think about what aging really means? We see the wrinkles, the gray hair, the changes in energy levels. But what's happening inside us, at the level of our cells, that leads to these outward signs of getting older? Well, that's precisely what we will be exploring in this video. What is happening at a cellular level? Imagine your body as a complex machine, made up of trillions of tiny components, cells. These cells are constantly working, dividing, and performing specific functions to keep you alive and well. But like any machine, these cellular components can wear down over time. And it's this gradual wear and tear that contributes significantly to the aging process. One of the most significant aspects of cellular aging is the phenomenon known as cellular senescence. Think of senescence as a state where a cell essentially becomes retired. It's no longer able to divide and perform its intended function effectively. These senescent cells aren't just inactive. They can also actively cause problems for the surrounding tissues. To understand how this happens, let's picture a healthy cell. It divides when it needs to, repairs itself when damaged, and carries out its specific tasks with precision. Now imagine this cell accumulating damage over time, perhaps from exposure to toxins, radiation, or just the normal wear and tear of daily life. Eventually, this damage reaches a critical point where the cell can no longer function properly. Instead of continuing to divide and risk passing on this damage, the cell enters a state of senescence. It's like a self-preservation mechanism, preventing damaged cells from replicating and potentially causing more harm. However, here's where things get tricky. While senescent cells prevent replication of damaged cells, they don't simply disappear. Instead, they persist in the body and can release a cocktail of inflammatory molecules, growth factors, and proteases, collectively known as the senescence-associated secretory phenotype, or SAS. The SAS-PI is essentially a chemical signal that can affect the surrounding cells and tissues. These inflammatory molecules can contribute to chronic inflammation, which is increasingly recognized as a major driver of aging and age-related diseases. Think of it like a small fire burning within the tissue. It's constantly releasing smoke and heat that can damage the surrounding structures. This chronic inflammation can contribute to a wide range of age-related problems, including arthritis, cardiovascular disease, neurodegeneration, and even cancer. So how do these cells become senescent in the first place? There are several key factors that can trigger this process. DNA damage, as we mentioned earlier, is a major culprit. When DNA becomes damaged, it can activate cellular stress responses that ultimately lead to senescence. Another important factor is telomere shortening. Telomeres are protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes that shorten with each cell division. Once telomeres reach a critically short length, the cell recognizes this as DNA damage and can enter senescence. We'll delve deeper into the role of telomeres in a later section. In addition to senescence, the accumulation of cellular damage plays a central role in aging. This damage can take many forms, including DNA mutations, protein misfolding, and organelle dysfunction. DNA mutations, for example, can disrupt the normal function of genes, leading to cellular dysfunction and disease. Imagine a recipe book where the instructions are garbled or missing. The final dish won't turn out as intended. And the same applies to cells with damaged DNA. Protein misfolding is another common form of cellular damage. Proteins are the workhorses of our cells, carrying out a vast array of functions. However, proteins need to fold into specific three-dimensional shapes to function correctly. When proteins misfold, they can clump together and become toxic, disrupting cellular processes. And what about the powerhouses of our cells, the mitochondria? These organelles are responsible for generating energy in the form of ATP as we age. Mitochondria can become damaged and less efficient, leading to a decline in cellular energy production. This mitochondrial dysfunction can have far-reaching consequences, affecting everything from muscle function to brain health. Now, you might be wondering, if all this damage is accumulating in our cells, why doesn't our body just get rid of it? Well, our bodies have various repair mechanisms in place to counteract cellular damage. For example, DNA repair pathways can fix damaged DNA, and autophagy, a cellular recycling process, can remove damaged proteins and organelles. However, as we age, these repair mechanisms become less efficient, leading to a gradual accumulation of cellular damage. It's like a car that's been driven for many years. The engine starts to wear down, and the repair work becomes more frequent and less effective. So, to recap, cellular senescence and the accumulation of cellular damage are two key processes that contribute significantly to aging. Senescent cells release inflammatory molecules that can damage surrounding tissues, while accumulated cellular damage disrupts normal cellular function. But here's a glimmer of hope. Understanding these cellular mechanisms of aging opens the door to potential interventions. If we can find ways to slow down cellular senescence, enhance cellular repair mechanisms, or remove damaged cells, we may be able to slow down the aging process itself. And that's precisely what we will be exploring in the rest of this video. All right, let's dive into the fascinating world of genetics and aging. Specifically, we're going to explore how your genes, that intricate blueprint of life, play a significant role in determining how long, how well you age. Think of your genome as a vast instruction manual, comprehensive guide to building and maintaining the complex machine that is you. It's filled with chapters on everything from eye color to height, but also includes subtle directives that influence cellular repair, immune function, and even how efficiently your body processes energy. Believe it or not, buried within this instruction manual are clues to your potential lifespan. Now, I want to be clear right off the bat. Aging isn't solely determined by your genes. It's a complex interplay between your genetic predispositions and the environment you live in, your lifestyle, diet, exposure to toxins, and a whole host of other factors. 8. But the genetic component is undeniable, and understanding it can provide valuable insights into the aging process. So where do we even begin looking for these longevity genes? Well, one of the most compelling areas of research focuses on family history. Ever notice how some families seem to have a knack for living well into their 90s, or even past 100? It's not always just good luck. Often it's a sign that they've inherited a favorable combination of genes that promote healthy aging. Scientists have been meticulously studying these superagers and their families, comparing their genetic profiles to those of the general population. The goal is to identify specific gene variants, also known as polymorphisms, that are more common in long-lived individuals. These variants, even seemingly small differences in our DNA, can have a significant impact on how our bodies function over time. One key area of focus is genes involved in DNA repair. Our DNA is constantly under attack from various sources: radiation, toxins, and even the normal metabolic processes within our cells. Damage to DNA can lead to mutations, cellular dysfunction, and ultimately, aging. Individuals with more efficient DNA repair mechanisms, often thanks to inherited gene variants, are better equipped to combat this damage and maintain cellular integrity for longer. Another area of intense research is genes that regulate inflammation. We've talked before how chronic, low-grade inflammation, sometimes called inflammaging, is a major driver of age-related diseases like heart disease, Alzheimer's, and cancer. Some people are genetically predisposed to experience higher levels of inflammation than others. Conversely, some individuals inherit gene variants that help keep inflammation in check, promoting a healthier, longer lifespan. Think of it like having a dimmer switch on your inflammatory response. Some people are born with a switch that's dialed up higher than others. Understanding these genetic differences could lead to personalized strategies for managing inflammation and mitigating its negative effects on aging. Then there are genes involved in antioxidant defense. Our bodies naturally produce antioxidants to neutralize harmful free radicals, those unstable molecules that can damage cells and contribute to aging. But the efficiency of our antioxidant systems varies depending on our genetic makeup. Some individuals inherit genes that code for more potent antioxidant enzymes. It's providing better protection against oxidative stress and promoting longevity. Beyond these specific areas, researchers are also exploring the role of genes involved in metabolism, hormone regulation, and even cognitive function in determining lifespan. The emerging picture is that longevity isn't determined by a single fountain of youth gene, but rather by a complex network of genes working together in concert. Now, I know what you might be thinking. If aging is partly determined by my genes, am I just stuck with what I've got? Well, the good news is that your genes are not your destiny. While you can't change your underlying genetic code, you can influence how your genes are expressed, which genes are turned on or off. This is the realm of epigenetics, and it's a powerful reminder that lifestyle choices can have a profound impact on your aging trajectory. For example, studies have shown that diet, exercise, and stress management can all alter epigenetic marks, influencing gene expression and potentially mitigating the negative effects of unfavorable gene variants. Think of it as having some degree of control over the volume dial on your genes. You can't change the song, but you can influence how loudly it plays. Furthermore, advances in genetic testing are making it increasingly possible to identify individual genetic predispositions to certain age-related diseases. This information can be used to develop personalized prevention strategies, allowing individuals to proactively address their specific risk factors and promote healthy aging. Imagine being able to identify your genetic susceptibility to Alzheimer's disease early in life. This knowledge could empower you to adopt lifestyle changes, like following a brain-healthy diet, engaging in regular cognitive exercise, and managing cardiovascular risk factors to potentially delay or even prevent the onset of the disease. Of course, genetic testing also raises some ethical considerations. Privacy, potential for discrimination, and the psychological impact of knowing your genetic predispositions are all important issues that need to be carefully considered. But as our understanding of the genetic basis of aging continues to grow, so too will our ability to harness this information for the benefit of human health. Ultimately, understanding the role of genetics in aging is not about fatalistically accepting our fate. It's about empowering ourselves with knowledge. It's about recognizing our individual strengths and weaknesses, and about making informed choices to maximize our health span, the period of our lives when we are not just living but thriving. It's a puzzle, and we're still piecing it together, bit by bit. All right, so we've talked about cells dividing, replicating, and generally keeping us alive and kicking. But what happens when those cells can't divide anymore? What if there was a biological clock ticking away inside each of our cells, counting down to a point where they simply stop? Well, that's where the telomere hypothesis comes in. Imagine the end of a shoelace. You know how if you use that shoelace a lot, the end starts to fray? It becomes weaker, and eventually the whole shoelace can start to unravel. The structures that carry our DNA have something similar, protective caps called telomeres. Telomeres are repetitive sequences of DNA. Located at the ends of our chromosomes, think of them as those plastic or metal aglays on the end of your shoelaces. Their primary job is to protect our chromosomes from damage and prevent them from sticking together or fusing with other chromosomes.
Oh.
This is critically important because damage to our DNA is bad news. It can lead to mutations, cellular dysfunction, and ultimately, diseases like cancer. Now, here's the thing. Every time a cell divides, it needs to copy its DNA. But the process of DNA replication isn't perfect. Due to the way DNA polymerase, the enzyme responsible for copying DNA, works. It can't quite reach the very end of the chromosome. This means that with each cell division, telomeres get a little bit shorter. It's like photocopying a document. If you photocopy a photocopy, you'll notice the copy becomes slightly worse, right? Well, each time a cell divides, it's like making a photocopy of its DNA. The telomeres get a little bit shorter each time, like slightly losing quality in that photocopy. So what happens when telomeres get too short? Well, this is where the telomere hypothesis really comes into play. The hypothesis states that when telomeres reach a critical length, they trigger a signal that tells the cell to stop dividing. It's like the shoelace aglet disintegrating. It can't protect anymore. The cell enters a state called cellular senescence. Cellular senescence is essentially a state of irreversible cell cycle arrest. The cell is still alive, but it can't divide anymore. Now you might think, okay, so the cell just stops dividing. Big deal. But senescent cells aren't just sitting there doing nothing. They start to secrete a cocktail of inflammatory molecules and growth factors, collectively known as the senescence-associated secretory phenotype, or SAS. This SAS can have a number of negative effects on the surrounding tissue, can promote inflammation, damage the extracellular matrix, which is like the scaffolding that holds our tissues together, and even induce senescence in neighboring cells. It's a bit like a grumpy old neighbor who complains loudly and influences everyone around them to also become grumpy. Over time, the accumulation of senescent cells and the associated SAS can contribute to a wide range of age-related diseases, including cardiovascular disease, neurodegenerative disorders, osteoarthritis, and even cancer. It's like a domino effect, where the shortening telomeres trigger cellular senescence, which then leads to inflammation and tissue damage, ultimately contributing to the aging process. So, is it all doom and gloom? Are we destined to age and wither away as our telomeres shorten? Well, not necessarily. There's an enzyme called telomerase that can actually lengthen telomeres. Telomerase is a reverse transcriptase, which means it can use RNA as a template to synthesize DNA. It's like a molecular machine that can add those protective caps back onto the ends of our chromosomes. This enzyme is particularly active in stem cells and germ cells, which need to divide indefinitely to maintain tissue homeostasis and ensure the continuation of the species. However, in most somatic cells, which are the cells that make up the majority of our body, telomeres activity is very low or even absent. This is why our telomeres gradually shorten with age. But the good news is that scientists are exploring ways to activate telomeres in somatic cells. One approach is through gene therapy, where a gene encoding for telomeres is introduced into telomeres, the cells. Another approach is through the development of small molecule drugs that can stimulate telomeres activity. Now, it's important to note that simply lengthening telomeres isn't necessarily a silver bullet for aging. There are potential risks associated with telomeres activation. For example, if telomeres is activated in cells that are already damaged or precancerous, it could promote uncontrolled cell growth and increase the risk of cancer. So, there's a fine balance to be struck. However, the telomere hypothesis has provided us with a valuable framework for understanding the cellular mechanisms of aging, given us a target to aim for, a potential way to slow down the aging process and potentially even extend lifespan. It's also important to note that lifestyle can affect this rate. Things like a good diet, proper sleep, and low stress can help telomeres from shortening more rapidly. The field of telomere biology is rapidly evolving, and new discoveries are constantly being made. While we're not quite ready to stop the aging process altogether, the telomere hypothesis offers a promising avenue for future research and potential interventions. We'll have to keep an eye on this one. It's a growing field that could change lives, all right? Let's dive into the microscopic world within our cells, specifically the mitochondria. You've probably heard them called the powerhouse of the cell, and for good reason. They're essentially tiny energy factories, taking in nutrients and oxygen and churning out ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which is the primary energy currency our bodies use to function. Every movement you make, every thought you have, every breath you take, it's all fueled by ATP, produced in these little organelles. Now, imagine what happens when these powerhouses start to falter. It's like having a city where the electrical grid is slowly failing. Lights flicker, machines grind to a halt, and everything just doesn't work as efficiently as it should. This, in essence, is what mitochondrial dysfunction is all about, and it's a major player in the aging process. So how exactly does mitochondrial dysfunction contribute to aging? Well, it's a complex interplay of several factors. Firstly, as we age, the number of mitochondria within our cells tends to decrease. We've simply got fewer of these little energy factories running, and the ones that remain, they often become less efficient. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a fleet of cars. Over time, some of those cars get taken off the road. The ones that are left begin to show some wear and tear. They don't have the zip that they used to have. They may leak fluids and be more likely to break down. They aren't as capable as they were when they were new. It's a similar story with our mitochondria. One of the key ways mitochondria become less efficient is through damage to their DNA, you see. Mitochondria have their own separate DNA, distinct from the DNA in the cell's nucleus. And mitochondrial DNA, or mtDNA, is particularly vulnerable to damage because it lacks the same robust repair mechanisms that protect nuclear DNA. This damage can be caused by a number of factors, including oxidative stress, which we'll discuss in more detail later. But, in a nutshell, oxidative stress is an imbalance between the production of free radicals and the body's ability to neutralize them. Free radicals are unstable molecules that can damage cellular components, including mitochondrial DNA. When mtDNA gets damaged, it can lead to the production of faulty mitochondrial proteins. These faulty proteins then disrupt the normal function of the mitochondria, further reducing their efficiency and contributing to a vicious cycle of damage and dysfunction. It's like the worn-out car trying to continue to drive when it can barely manage. Furthermore, dysfunctional mitochondria can leak electrons, leading to an increased production of free radicals. This is where things get particularly interesting, because it creates a positive feedback loop. Damaged mitochondria generate more free radicals, which then further damage mitochondria, leading to even more free radical production. It's a snowball effect that accelerates the aging process. But the consequences of mitochondrial dysfunction don't stop there. These cellular powerhouses also play a crucial role in regulating apoptosis, or programmed cell death. When mitochondria are severely damaged, they can trigger apoptosis, essentially telling the cell to self-destruct. While this is a normal and necessary process for removing damaged cells, an excessive apoptosis can contribute to tissue degeneration and organ dysfunction, which are hallmarks of aging. Think of a plant that gets too much water. At first, it may look happy and vibrant, but before long, the roots are rotting, the leaves turn yellow, and the whole plant begins to wilt. The cells are dying off, and the damage has become irreversible. Moreover, mitochondrial dysfunction has been implicated in a wide range of age-related diseases, including Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. In Alzheimer's, for instance, mitochondrial dysfunction is thought to contribute to the accumulation of amyloid plaques and neurofibrillary tangles. The hallmarks of the disease, in Parkinson's, it's linked to the death of dopamine-producing neurons in the brain. In heart disease, it can impair the heart's ability to contract efficiently, and in type 2 diabetes. It can contribute to insulin resistance and impaired glucose metabolism. So, what can we do to protect our mitochondrial health and potentially slow down the aging process? Fortunately, there are several strategies we can employ. Firstly, diet plays a crucial role. Consuming a nutrient-rich diet that's rich in antioxidants, such as fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, can help to combat oxidative stress and protect mitochondrial DNA from damage. Antioxidants act as free radical scavengers, neutralizing these harmful molecules and preventing them from wreaking havoc on our cells. Specific nutrients, such as coenzyme Q10 or CoQ10 and alpha-lipoic acid, have also been shown to support mitochondrial function. CoQ10 is a vital component of the electron transport chain, which is essential for ATP production, while alpha-lipoic acid is a potent antioxidant that can help to regenerate other antioxidants, such as vitamin C and vitamin E. Secondly, exercise is another powerful tool for boosting mitochondrial health. Regular physical activity stimulates the production of new mitochondria, a process known as mitochondrial biogenesis. It also improves the efficiency of existing mitochondria, making them better at producing ATP. Imagine a factory that is working 24/7. The machines will eventually wear out and break down. But if the factory has regular maintenance and upgrades, it can stay in top condition for much longer. Exercise, in this sense, is like the maintenance and upgrades for our mitochondria. Thirdly, intermittent fasting has also shown promise in promoting mitochondrial health. During periods of fasting, cells undergo a process called autophagy, which is essentially a cellular cleaning process. Damaged mitochondria are broken down and recycled, making way for new, healthy mitochondria to take their place. Think of it like decluttering your home. You get rid of old, broken items that are taking up space and replace them with new, functional ones. Autophagy does the same thing for our cells. Finally, certain supplements, such as resveratrol and nicotinamide, riboside or NR, have also been shown to have beneficial effects on mitochondrial function. Resveratrol, found in red wine and grapes, activates sirtuins, a group of proteins that play a role in regulating mitochondrial biogenesis and protecting against oxidative stress. NR is a precursor to NAD+, a coenzyme that is essential for mitochondrial function and energy production. It's important to remember that the science of mitochondrial health and aging is still evolving. But by adopting a healthy lifestyle that includes a nutrient-rich diet, regular exercise, and strategies to manage stress, we can support our mitochondrial function and potentially slow down the aging process. By nurturing these tiny powerhouses within our cells, we can help to ensure that our bodies have the energy they need to thrive, both now and in the years to come. Okay, let's talk about rust. Not the kind you find on an old car, but something far more insidious, a process that's happening inside each and every one of us right now. We're talking about oxidative stress and free radicals, the microscopic culprits behind what you could call the rusting of the body. Think of it this way. You slice open an apple, and what happens? It turns brown. That's oxidation in action. The same kind of process is constantly happening inside your cells, but instead of just changing color, it can damage your DNA, proteins, cell membranes. So what exactly is oxidative stress? It's basically an imbalance. On one side, you have free radicals, unstable molecules that are missing an electron and desperately try to steal one from somewhere else. On the other side, you have antioxidants, your body's defense system, designed to neutralize these free radicals. Now, free radicals aren't inherently evil. They're actually a natural byproduct of metabolism, the process our bodies use to convert food into energy. They even play a role in certain important functions, like helping our immune system fight off infections. The problem is when there are too many free radicals and not enough antioxidants to keep them in check. That's when oxidative stress occurs, and that's when the damage starts. Where do these free radicals come from? Well, they're produced by normal cellular functions, like I said, breathing, digestion, even exercise. But our modern lifestyles can significantly increase free radical production. Think about exposure too. pollution, cigarette smoke, processed foods, radiation, even chronic stress. All of these things can overload our systems and create an excess of these damaging molecules. Now, let's dive a little deeper into what these free radicals actually do. They're essentially molecular bullies, going around trying to snatch electrons from other molecules to stabilize themselves. When a free radical steals an electron from a cell membrane, it can damage the membrane structure, making it leaky and less able to protect the cell. If they attack proteins, they can alter their shape and function, disrupting important cellular processes. And perhaps most concerningly, free radicals can damage DNA, the very blueprint of life. This DNA damage can lead to mutations, which can increase the risk of cancer and accelerate aging. Imagine a chain reaction, like a row of dominoes falling. One free radical damages a molecule, which then becomes another free radical, causing more damage, and so on. This cascade of oxidative damage can accumulate over time, slowly eroding our cellular health and contributing to a wide range of age-related diseases. Think about some of the major health challenges we face as we get older: heart disease, Alzheimer's disease, arthritis, cataracts, even wrinkles. Oxidative stress plays a significant role in the development of all of these conditions in heart disease. For example, oxidative stress can damage the lining of blood vessels, making them more prone to plaque buildup and hardening of the arteries. In Alzheimer's disease, free radicals can contribute to the formation of amyloid plaques and tangles in the brain, disrupting neuronal function and leading to cognitive decline. In arthritis, oxidative stress can damage cartilage and trigger inflammation in the joints. You see, it's not just one isolated problem, it is a systemic issue. So what can we do to combat this rusting of the body? Fortunately, our bodies have a built-in defense system: antioxidants. These are molecules that can donate electrons to free radicals, neutralizing them and preventing them from causing damage. Our bodies produce some antioxidants naturally, but we also get them from our diet. That's why eating a colorful variety of fruits and vegetables is so important. They're packed with antioxidants like vitamins C and E, beta-carotene, and selenium. Think about berries, leafy greens, citrus fruits, nuts, and seeds. These are all excellent sources of antioxidants. But it's not just about eating the right foods. It's also about minimizing our exposure to things that increase free radical production in the first place. Quitting smoking, reducing pollution exposure, limiting processed foods, managing stress. These are all important steps we can take to reduce the oxidative burden on our bodies. Exercise is a bit of a double-edged sword. While intense exercise can temporarily increase free radical production, regular moderate exercise actually boosts our bodies antioxidant defenses over the long term. It's also important to remember that oxidative stress is just one piece of the aging puzzle. It interacts with other processes, like inflammation and mitochondrial dysfunction, to contribute to the overall decline in health that we associate with aging. And this is something we will talk about later. We all want to live longer, healthier lives. And understanding the role of oxidative stress and free radicals is a crucial step in that direction. By making informed choices about our diet and lifestyle, we can help protect ourselves from damage and slow down the rusting of the body. It's not about stopping the aging process altogether, but about aging gracefully and maintaining our health and vitality for as long as possible. Think of it as preventative maintenance for your body. It's just like you would take care of a valuable car. You need to invest in your cellular health. It all adds up to not just extending lifespan, but health span, meaning the years we live in good health. And who doesn't want more of those? All right, let's talk about something called inflammaging. It sounds a little intimidating, I know, but trust me, it's a crucial piece of the aging puzzle. In fact, understanding it could be key to living a longer, healthier life. So what exactly is inflammaging? Well, it's essentially chronic low-grade inflammation that simmers in our bodies as we get older. Think of it as a persistent, smoldering fire, not a raging inferno. It's not the kind of inflammation that causes immediate pain or swelling, like when you sprain an ankle. Instead, it's a more subtle, systemic inflammation that operates at a low level but goes on and on. Now, inflammation itself isn't inherently bad. It's a vital part of our immune system's response to injury or infection. When your body detects a threat, whether it's a cut, a virus, or a rogue cell, it triggers an inflammatory cascade. This involves a complex series of events designed to isolate the damage, eliminate the threat, and initiate repair. Immune cells rush to the scene, releasing inflammatory molecules like cytokines and chemokines. These molecules act as messengers, signaling to other immune cells and initiating various protective mechanisms. Affected area becomes red, swollen, and warm, classic signs of inflammation. Once the threat is neutralized and the healing process begins, the inflammation subsides and everything returns to normal. That's how it should work. But with inflammaging, the inflammation never really shuts off completely. Inflammatory process becomes dysregulated. There are numerous contributing factors here. As we age, our immune system becomes less efficient at distinguishing between friend and foe. This can lead to the immune system attacking healthy tissues, a process known as autoimmunity. Plus, over time, our cells accumulate damage from DNA mutations to misfolded proteins to plain old wear and tear. These damaged cells can trigger chronic inflammation. Also, the gut microbiome changes with age and become less diverse, which contributes to increased gut permeability. This allows substances that should normally remain inside the gut to leak into the bloodstream, triggering an immune response. So what are the consequences of this chronic low-grade inflammation? The effects are wide-ranging and touch upon practically every aspect of aging. One of the most significant impacts is on cardiovascular health. Inflammaging contributes to the development of atherosclerosis, the hardening and narrowing of the arteries. Inflammatory molecules damage the lining of blood vessels, promoting the buildup of plaque. This, in turn, increases the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and other cardiovascular events. Inflammaging also plays a major role in neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Inflammation in the brain can damage neurons and disrupt the connections between them. This can impair cognitive function and accelerate the progression of these devastating conditions. Some research suggests that chronic inflammation may even be a trigger for the development of these diseases in the first place. Furthermore, inflammaging is linked to metabolic disorders like type 2 diabetes. Chronic inflammation can interfere with insulin signaling, making it harder for cells to absorb glucose from the blood. This leads to insulin resistance and eventually high blood sugar levels. And as we know, elevated blood sugar can accelerate aging through the process of glycation and the creation of advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. But that's not all. Inflammaging is also implicated in arthritis, osteoporosis, sarcopenia, the loss of muscle mass, and even cancer. In essence, this systemic inflammation creates an environment that promotes cellular dysfunction, tissue damage, and accelerated aging across the board. Now, the good news is that we're not entirely helpless in the face of inflammaging. There are things we can do to mitigate its effects and potentially slow down the aging process. One of the most effective strategies is diet. Diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains can help reduce inflammation. These foods are packed with antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds that can neutralize free radicals and dampen the inflammatory response. Conversely, a diet high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats can exacerbate inflammation. Exercise is another powerful tool. Regular physical activity has been shown to reduce inflammation and improve immune function. Exercise helps too. Clear damaged cells, improves insulin sensitivity, and strengthens the immune system's ability to regulate itself. It is truly remarkable. Stress management is also crucial. Chronic stress can trigger the release of inflammatory hormones like cortisol. Finding healthy ways to manage stress, such as meditation, yoga, or spending time in nature, can help to keep inflammation in check. Additionally, there are several supplements that have shown promise in reducing inflammation. Curcumin, the active ingredient in turmeric, is a potent anti-inflammatory agent. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fish oil, can also help to dampen the inflammatory response. Resveratrol, found in red grapes and red wine, also shows significant anti-inflammatory properties. Remember to always consult with a healthcare professional before starting any new supplement regimen. Finally, researchers are exploring more targeted therapies to combat inflammaging senolytics, drugs that selectively eliminate senescent cells, are showing promise in reducing inflammation and improving health span in animal models. Clinical trials are underway to assess their safety and efficacy in humans. Also, scientists are exploring ways to modulate the immune system to restore its ability to regulate inflammation effectively. Inflammaging is a complex and multifaceted process, but by understanding its mechanisms and taking steps to mitigate its effects, we can potentially slow down the aging process and enjoy a longer, healthier life. It's not about stopping aging altogether, but about optimizing our health span, the period of life we spend in good health and free from disease. And that, my friends, is a worthy goal for us all. Okay, so you've probably heard it a million times, you are what you eat. And when it comes to aging, that old saying really starts to hit home. We're not just talking about maintaining a healthy weight or avoiding the dreaded afternoon slump. We're talking about fundamentally influencing how our bodies age at a cellular level. Nutrition isn't just about calories. It's about providing our cells with the building blocks they need to thrive and defend themselves against the onslaught of time. Let's first be clear about one thing. There's no magic bullet. There's no single food that's going to make you immortal. But the science is pretty clear that certain dietary patterns can significantly impact your health span. That's the period of your life where you're not just alive, but also healthy and functional. We want to maximize that, right? So where do we start? Let's talk about the big picture. A diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins is generally considered a cornerstone of healthy aging. These foods are packed with essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, those little guys that fight off the free radicals we talked about earlier. Think of antioxidants as the body's cleanup crew, neutralizing the harmful byproducts of cellular metabolism that can damage our DNA and accelerate aging. But it's not just what you eat, it's also how much. This brings us to the fascinating world of caloric restriction, or CR. Now, before you start picturing yourself subsisting on rabbit food, let me clarify. Caloric restriction in this context doesn't mean starvation. It means reducing your calorie intake by a certain percentage, usually between 10% and 40%, while still ensuring you're getting all the essential nutrients your body needs. The idea behind CR is that by slightly stressing the body through reduced calorie intake, you trigger a cascade of protective mechanisms. Think of it like this. When resources are scarce, the body shifts into survival mode, prioritizing cellular repair, waste removal, and energy efficiency. Studies in yeast, worms, flies, and even primates have shown that CR can significantly extend lifespan and improve overall health. We're talking about potentially delaying age-related diseases like cancer, heart disease, and neurodegenerative disorders. Now, human studies on CR are a little trickier. It's not exactly ethical to put people on restrictive diets for decades to see if they live longer. However, observational studies and shorter-term clinical trials have yielded promising results. For example, the comprehensive assessment of long-term effects of reducing intake of energy calorie study. A large-scale, randomized controlled trial found that moderate CR in healthy and obese adults led to improvements in several markers of health, including blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and insulin sensitivity. But here's the catch. CR isn't for everyone. It can be challenging to maintain long-term, and it may not be suitable for individuals with certain medical conditions or those at risk of malnutrition. It's crucial to consult with a healthcare professional before making any drastic changes to your diet, especially if you're considering CR beyond caloric restriction. Let's delve into specific dietary components that have been linked to longevity. One area of intense research is the role of plant-based compounds called polyphenols. These are found in abundance in fruits, vegetables, tea, coffee, and even dark chocolate. Yes, you heard that right. Polyphenols have potent antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, They've been shown to protect against age-related diseases. Resveratrol, it's found in red wine and grapes, is perhaps one of the most well-known polyphenols. Studies have suggested that resveratrol can activate sirtuins, a family of proteins involved in DNA repair, stress resistance, and cellular metabolism. Sirtuins are basically longevity genes, and they have been heavily linked to lifespan extension. Another important dietary factor is protein intake. As we age, we tend to lose muscle mass, a condition known as sarcopenia. This can lead to frailty, decreased mobility, and an increased risk of falls and fractures. Consuming adequate amounts of protein, especially high-quality protein sources, like lean meats, fish, eggs, and legumes, is crucial for maintaining muscle mass and strength as we age. But it's not just about getting enough protein. The timing of protein intake may also be important. Some research suggests that distributing protein evenly throughout the day, rather than consuming most of it in one meal, can be more effective for stimulating muscle protein synthesis. Now, let's talk about the things we should limit in our diet. Processed foods, sugary drinks, and excessive amounts of saturated and trans fats have been linked to inflammation, oxidative stress, and an increased risk of age-related diseases. These foods are often high in calories but low in nutrients, essentially providing empty calories that contribute to weight gain and metabolic dysfunction. The same goes for added sugars. Excessive sugar consumption can lead to insulin resistance, which increases the risk of type 2 diabetes and other metabolic disorders. Limiting your intake of sugary drinks, processed snacks, and desserts can have a significant impact on your overall health and longevity. Finally, let's touch on the importance of hydration. Water is essential for virtually every bodily function, from nutrient transport to waste removal. As we age, our sense of thirst may diminish, making us more vulnerable to dehydration. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day, especially if you're physically active or live in a hot climate. The evidence suggests that nutrition plays a vital role in the aging process. By adopting a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins, limiting processed foods, sugary drinks, and unhealthy fats, and staying adequately hydrated, we can provide our bodies with the building blocks they need to thrive and defend themselves against the effects of aging. It's also a great idea to consult a registered dietitian or healthcare professional that can help you build a personalized eating plan that is safe and meets your dietary needs. While caloric restriction may benefit some, it may not be the right option for everyone, so always consult a doctor first before starting a new diet. Remember, it's not about finding the fountain of youth. It's about optimizing our health and well-being so we can live longer, healthier, and more fulfilling lives. All right, let's dive into one of the most compelling aspects of the aging puzzle: exercise. We all know we should exercise, but what's the real connection between physical activity and a longer, healthier life? It's not just about fitting into those genes from college, folks. It's about the very biology of aging itself. For years, scientists have been observing a clear correlation. People who exercise regularly tend to live longer and experience fewer age-related diseases. But correlation doesn't equal causation, right? We need to dig deeper. We need to understand why exercise seems to slow down the aging process. That's what the next few minutes will be dedicated to. So how does it work? Well, the benefits of exercise are multifaceted, impacting nearly every system in the body. One of the key players here is cellular health. Remember those cellular foundations of aging we talked about? Exercise can have a profound effect on them. Think of your cells like tiny engines powering your body. As we age, these engines become less efficient. They accumulate damage, they struggle to produce energy, and they become more prone to dysfunction. Exercise, however, can help to keep those engines running smoothly. For example, remember those mitochondria, the powerhouses of our cells? As we age, mitochondrial function tends to decline, leading to reduced energy production and increased oxidative stress.
Guess what?
Exercise can help to boost mitochondrial biogenesis, which is essentially the creation of new mitochondria. Like giving your cells a fresh supply of powerful little engines. Studies have shown that regular exercise can increase the number and efficiency of mitochondria in muscle cells, improving energy production and reducing the accumulation of damaging free radicals. This isn't just about feeling more energetic. It's about protecting your cells from the ravages of time. And speaking of free radicals, let's talk about oxidative stress. This is essentially the rusting of the body caused by an imbalance between free radical production and the body's ability to neutralize them. Oxidative stress damages cells, DNA, and other vital components contributing to aging and age-related diseases. Exercise, paradoxically, initially increases free radical production, but this temporary surge triggers the body's antioxidant defense systems, making them stronger and more resilient in the long run. It's like a controlled stress that prepares your body to handle future challenges. Out on the treadmill, you're actually training your cells to become more resistant to oxidative damage. Next, let's consider inflammation. As we age, chronic low-grade inflammation, often referred to as inflammaging, becomes more prevalent. This persistent inflammation can contribute to a wide range of age-related diseases, including cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and Alzheimer's disease. Exercise has been shown to have potent anti-inflammatory effects. It can help to reduce levels of inflammatory markers in the blood, such as C-reactive protein and interleukin-6. This isn't just about feeling less achy. It's about dampening the chronic inflammatory fire that fuels the aging process. Now, let's talk about telomeres. Remember, those protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes that shorten with each cell division? Telomere shortening is a hallmark of aging, and it's linked to cellular senescence, an increased risk of disease, while the research is still ongoing. Some studies suggest that exercise may help to slow down the rate of telomere shortening. This doesn't necessarily mean that exercise can magically stop telomeres from shortening altogether, but it may help to preserve their length, potentially extending cellular lifespan. Of course, it's important to note that not all exercise is created equal. The type, intensity, and duration of exercise can all influence its effects on aging. A balanced approach that includes both aerobic exercise and resistance training is generally recommended. Aerobic exercise, such as running, swimming, or cycling, improves cardiovascular health, boosts mitochondrial function, and reduces inflammation. Resistance training, such as weightlifting, builds muscle mass, increases bone density, and improves metabolic function. Maintaining muscle mass is particularly important as we age. Muscle loss or sarcopenia is a common age-related condition that can lead to weakness, frailty, and increased risk of falls. Resistance training can help to combat sarcopenia, preserving strength and independence as we get older. Think of it like this. Maintaining muscle mass is like having a reserve of strength and resilience. It allows you to handle the physical demands of daily life, recover more quickly from illness or injury, and maintain your overall quality of life. And let's not forget about the mental benefits of exercise. Exercise has been shown to improve cognitive function, reduce stress, and boost mood. These mental benefits are just as important as the physical benefits when it comes to healthy aging. Chronic stress can accelerate the aging process, contributing to inflammation, oxidative stress, and telomere shortening. Exercise can help to buffer the effects of stress, promoting relaxation and improving overall well-being. In fact, some research suggests that the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, is a key player in the cognitive benefits of exercise. BDNF is a protein that supports the growth, survival, and differentiation of neurons. Exercise has been shown to increase BDNF levels in the brain, improving cognitive function and protecting against age-related cognitive decline. So, how much exercise do you need to reap these benefits? The general recommendation is at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity aerobic exercise per week, along with at least 2 days of resistance training. But the truth is, any amount of exercise is better than none. Even small amounts of physical activity can have a positive impact on your health and well-being. Start slowly, gradually increase your intensity and duration, and find activities that you enjoy. And remember, it's never too late to start. Studies have shown that even older adults can benefit from exercise, improving their strength, balance, and overall health. It's about finding what works for you and making it a consistent part of your lifestyle. The link between exercise and longevity is complex and multifaceted, involving a cascade of biological processes that impact cellular health, inflammation, oxidative stress, and telomere maintenance. It's not a magic bullet, but it's one of the most powerful tools we have to slow down the aging process and live a longer, healthier life. So get moving, folks. Your body will thank you for it. It will not only extend your life, but significantly improve its quality. Ever find yourself dragging through the day, feeling like you're running on fumes? We often blame it on a busy schedule or a stressful week. But what if I told you that your sleep or lack thereof could be a major driver of the aging process itself? It's not just about feeling tired. It's about what's happening inside. Your body at a cellular level. Think of sleep as the body's nightly repair crew. While you're drifting off into dreamland, your cells are hard at work, fixing the damage accumulated throughout the day. From DNA repair to clearing out metabolic waste. These essential processes keep your body functioning optimally. But what happens when you consistently shortchange your sleep? Well, imagine that same repair crew showing up to a construction site with half the workers and limited tools. The repairs don't get done properly, things start to break down faster, and eventually the whole structure begins to crumble. That's essentially what happens to your body when you're chronically sleep-deprived. The cellular repair processes are compromised. It's leading to an accelerated rate of aging. Now, we're not just talking about getting a few hours less sleep here and there. We're talking about consistently inadequate sleep, both in terms of quantity and quality, because it's not just about the number of hours you spend in bed. It's about the type of sleep you're getting. Let's break down the key components. First, there's sleep quantity. Most adults need around 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. This is the sweet spot where your body can effectively carry out its repair processes. Consistently getting less than this can have significant consequences over time. Studies have shown a clear link between short sleep duration and increased risk of age-related diseases, including cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and even Alzheimer's disease. It's as if depriving yourself of sleep is fast-forwarding the aging clock. It's making you more vulnerable to these conditions. But the story doesn't end there. Sleep quality is just as important, if not more so, than quantity. You might be spending 8 hours in bed, but if you're tossing and turning all night, waking up frequently, or experiencing sleep apnea, you're not getting the restorative benefits you need. Think about it. If you're constantly being interrupted during sleep, your body never fully transitions into the deeper stages of sleep, where the most critical repair processes occur. It's like trying to renovate a house during a constant earthquake. It's just not going to work. So what exactly happens during these crucial stages of sleep? Let's delve a bit deeper. During slow-wave sleep, also known as deep sleep, your brainwaves slow down, your heart rate and breathing become more regular, and your muscles relax. This is when your body releases growth hormone, which is essential for tissue repair and muscle growth. It's also when your brain clears out metabolic waste products that accumulate throughout the day, including amyloid beta, a protein associated with Alzheimer's disease. Then there's REM sleep. It's the stage where you experience vivid dreams. REM sleep is crucial for cognitive function, memory consolidation, and emotional regulation. It's like your brain is sorting through all the information it's gathered during the day, strengthening important connections and discarding irrelevant ones. When your sleep quality is poor, you spend less time in these deep and restorative stages, hindering your body's ability to repair itself. This can lead to a buildup of cellular damage, increased inflammation, and impaired cognitive function, all of which contribute to the aging process. Now you might be wondering, how do I know if I'm getting good quality sleep? Well, there are several indicators to look out for. Do you wake up feeling refreshed and energized? Are you able to focus and concentrate throughout the day? Or do you feel groggy, irritable, and constantly battling brain fog? If you're experiencing the latter, it's a sign that your sleep quality might be lacking. Other signs include frequent awakenings during the night, difficulty falling asleep, or snoring loudly. These could be indicators of underlying sleep disorders, such as insomnia or sleep apnea, which can significantly impact your health and accelerate aging. But don't despair. The good news is that there are steps you can take to improve both the quantity and quality of your sleep. Establishing a regular sleep schedule, creating a relaxing bedtime routine, optimizing your sleep environment, and avoiding caffeine and alcohol before bed can all make a significant difference. Think of it as investing in your future health. By prioritizing sleep, you're not just feeling better in the short term, you're also laying the foundation for a longer, healthier life. It's a simple, yet powerful way to slow down the aging process and protect yourself from age-related diseases. So, as we continue our exploration of the biology of aging, remember that sleep is not just a luxury, it's a fundamental biological need. It's the cornerstone of cellular repair and regeneration, and a crucial factor in determining how well we age. Prioritizing sleep is an investment in your health span. It's allowing you to live not just longer, but also healthier and more vibrant years. Sweet dreams, everyone? All right, let's talk stress. We all know it. That knot in your stomach before a big presentation. The tension headache after a long day. But what you might not realize is that chronic stress, the kind that lingers and becomes a constant companion, can seriously accelerate the aging process. Think of your body as a finely tuned machine. It's incredibly resilient, designed to handle occasional bumps and bruises. But chronic stress is like constantly redlining the engine. You might be able to push it for a while, but eventually, something's going to break down. So what exactly is stress from a biological perspective? Well, it's essentially your body's response to any demand placed upon it. That demand can be physical, like running a marathon or fighting off an infection. Or, more commonly in our modern lives, it's psychological, a demanding job, relationship, problems, financial worries. When you perceive a threat, your brain kicks into high gear, triggering a cascade of hormonal and physiological changes designed to help you cope. This is often called the fight or flight response. Your heart rate increases, your breathing becomes faster, your muscles tense, and your senses sharpen. Hormones like adrenaline and cortisol flood your system, providing a surge of energy and focus. In the short term, this response is incredibly useful. It helps you react quickly to danger, perform under pressure, and overcome challenges. When this stress response becomes chronic, when you're constantly in a state of heightened alert, it starts to take a serious toll. One of the primary ways chronic stress accelerates aging is through its impact on telomeres. Remember those? Protective caps on the ends of your chromosomes, like the plastic tips on shoelaces. They shorten with each cell division, and when they get too short, the cell can no longer divide and eventually dies or becomes senescent. Now, several studies have shown a direct link between chronic stress and accelerated telomere shortening. Think of it like this. Stress puts extra wear and tear on your cells, forcing them to divide more frequently to repair damage. This increased cell division uses up those telomeres faster, effectively speeding up the aging clock at a cellular level. But it's not just telomeres. Chronic stress also wreaks havoc on your body through inflammation. When you're constantly stressed, your immune system becomes overactive, leading to a state of chronic low-grade inflammation. This persistent inflammation, often referred to as inflammation, is a major driver of age-related diseases like heart disease, arthritis, Alzheimer's, and even some types of cancer. The inflammatory response is meant to be a short-term solution to a specific problem. Imagine you cut your finger. Inflammation is the body's way of sending immune cells to the area to fight off infection and begin the healing process. But when inflammation becomes chronic, it's like a constant smoldering fire throughout your body, damaging tissues and organs over time. Another key player in the stress-aging connection is oxidative stress. We've talked about free radicals before, those unstable molecules that damage cells and contribute to aging. Chronic stress can increase the production of free radicals, overwhelming your body's natural antioxidant defenses. This leads to oxidative damage to DNA, proteins, and lipids, further accelerating the aging process. Think of it like rust forming on a car. Over time, exposure to oxygen and other elements causes the metal to corrode and weaken. Oxidative stress is similar. It's like your body is slowly rusting from the inside out, and it's not just your cells that suffer. Chronic stress can also negatively impact your brain health. Prolonged exposure to cortisol, the primary stress hormone, can damage the hippocampus, a brain region crucial for memory and learning. This can lead to cognitive decline, difficulty concentrating, and an increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases. Like Alzheimer's, moreover, stress is a major disruptor of sleep. A restless night or two after a particularly stressful day is normal, but chronic stress can lead to persistent insomnia, making it difficult to fall asleep or stay asleep, when, as we've discussed, sleep is essential for cellular repair and regeneration. When you're constantly sleep-deprived, your body doesn't have the time it needs to repair itself. Further accelerating aging, it can also lead to changes in our behaviors. We might not even realize these habits are caused by stress. We start to crave high-sugar, high-fat comfort foods, which leads to weight gain and further inflammation. We might start drinking more alcohol or smoking to cope, which introduces harmful toxins into our bodies. We might withdraw from social interactions, leading to feelings of isolation and loneliness, which are also linked to accelerated aging. The effects of chronic stress are far-reaching and interconnected. It's not just one thing that goes wrong. It's a cascade of negative effects that ultimately contribute to a shorter, less healthy lifespan. It affects everything from our cellular health, genetic expression, hormone balances, and even our mental well-being. So what can we do about it? The good news is that while chronic stress is a significant risk factor for accelerated aging, it's not inevitable. There are many things you can do to manage stress and protect your health. We'll dive deeper into practical strategies for stress reduction later on, but for now, let's just acknowledge the profound impact that chronic stress can have on our aging process. Recognizing this connection is the first step towards taking control of our health and living longer, healthier lives. This isn't about eliminating stress entirely. That's unrealistic. It's about building resilience and learning to cope with stress in a healthy and sustainable way. Because in the long run, managing your stress is one of the best investments you can make in your future well-being. All right, let's talk about the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the environment that surrounds us. We often focus on internal factors like genetics and cellular processes when discussing aging. But let's not forget the significant impact of external influences. These environmental factors, specifically pollution and toxins, play a crucial role in accelerating or mitigating the aging process. They're the uninvited guests at the longevity party. Their presence can make a serious difference. Think about it. From the moment we're born, we're bombarded with a cocktail of chemicals, pollutants, and toxins. These substances are in the air, in our food, and even in the products we use every day. They're not always visible, but they're constantly interacting with our bodies, influencing our cells, and subtly shifting the gears of the aging clock. Now, when I say pollution, I'm not just talking about smog-filled cities. Pollution encompasses a wide range of contaminants, including particulate matter from vehicle exhaust, industrial emissions, and even household sources like wood-burning stoves. These tiny particles, often smaller than the width of a human hair, can penetrate deep into our lungs and bloodstream, triggering inflammation and oxidative stress. And as we've discussed before, inflammation and oxidative stress are key drivers of aging. These pollutants can damage our DNA, disrupt cellular function, and impair the ability of our bodies to repair themselves. It's like throwing sand into the gears of a complex machine. Over time, the machine starts to wear down, its performance declines, and eventually it breaks down altogether. Similarly, chronic exposure to pollution can accelerate the aging process, increasing the risk of age-related diseases like heart disease, cancer, and neurodegenerative disorders. The World Health Organization estimates that air pollution is responsible for millions of deaths each year and a significant portion of these deaths are linked to age-related illnesses. This highlights the profound impact that environmental factors can have on our lifespan and overall health span, the period of our lives spent in good health. But it's not just air pollution that we need to worry about. Toxins are another major environmental influence on aging. Toxins can come in many forms, from heavy metals like lead and mercury to pesticides, industrial chemicals, and even the byproducts of our own metabolism. These toxins can accumulate in our bodies over time, interfering with cellular processes, damaging DNA, and disrupting hormonal balance. Consider heavy metals, for example. Lead, mercury, and cadmium are ubiquitous in our environment, found in everything from old paint to contaminated seafood. These metals can accumulate in our bones, tissues, and organs, causing a range of health problems, including neurological damage, kidney dysfunction, and increased risk of cancer. They can also interfere with the activity of enzymes and other essential proteins, disrupting cellular function and accelerating aging. Pesticides are another class of toxins that can have a significant impact on our health and longevity. These chemicals are widely used in agriculture to protect crops from pests, but they can also contaminate our food and water supply. Chronic exposure to pesticides has been linked to a variety of health problems, including neurological disorders, immune dysfunction, and increased risk of cancer. Some pesticides can even mimic hormones, disrupting the endocrine system and accelerating aging. And let's not forget about the toxins that are produced by our own bodies. As we metabolize food and generate energy, we also produce waste products, including free radicals and advanced glycation end products, or GEs. These substances can damage cells and tissues, contributing to oxidative stress and inflammation. While our bodies have natural defense mechanisms to neutralize these toxins, chronic exposure to environmental pollutants and toxins can overwhelm these systems, leading to a buildup of harmful substances and accelerated aging. So, what can we do to minimize our exposure to these environmental factors and protect ourselves from their harmful effects? Well, there are several strategies that we can implement, both individually and collectively on a personal level. We can make conscious choices to reduce our exposure to pollution and toxins. This might involve choosing organic foods to minimize pesticide exposure, using air and water filters to remove contaminants, and avoiding products that contain harmful chemicals. We can also support policies that promote cleaner air and water, such as investing in renewable energy, reducing vehicle emissions, and regulating industrial pollution. Diet plays a crucial role in mitigating the effects of environmental toxins. Consuming a diet rich in antioxidants, such as fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, can help neutralize free radicals and protect against oxidative stress. Certain nutrients like selenium and glutathione are also important for detoxification, helping the body eliminate harmful substances. And of course, staying hydrated is essential for flushing out toxins and supporting overall cellular function. Exercise can also play a protective role. Regular physical activity helps to improve circulation, boost the immune system, and enhance detoxification processes. It can also help to reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, mitigating the harmful effects of environmental pollutants and toxins. But ultimately, addressing environmental factors in aging requires a collective effort. We need to support policies that promote cleaner air and water, reduce pollution, and regulate the use of harmful chemicals. We need to invest in research to better understand the impact of environmental factors on aging and develop strategies to mitigate their harmful effects. The environment is not just something that surrounds us. It's an integral part of our biology. By understanding the impact of environmental factors on aging and taking steps to minimize our exposure to pollution and toxins, we can promote healthier, longer lives, not just for ourselves, but for future generations as well. All right, let's dive into some emerging theories of aging. Because while we've covered a lot about cellular damage and genetic predisposition, the story doesn't end there. Science is always evolving, and researchers are constantly exploring new angles on this complex process. Think of these as alternative routes on the map of aging, potentially leading to new discoveries and interventions. One fascinating theory revolves around the concept of damage accumulation. Now, this might seem obvious where you get older. Damage accumulates, but the focus here is on the specific types of damage and how they interact. It's not just about DNA damage or oxidative stress and isolation. This theory suggests that the interplay between different types of damage is what accelerates aging. For example, if you have some existing DNA damage, it might make your cells more vulnerable to oxidative stress, leading to a cascade of further problems. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, gathering momentum and causing more damage as it goes. The exciting part is identifying the key points in these damage cascades, the bottlenecks where we might be able to intervene and slow things down. Are there specific enzymes or proteins that are critical for these interactions? Can we develop therapies that target these choke points and break the cycle of damage accumulation? Then there's the systems biology approach. Instead of focusing on individual cells or processes, this theory looks at the whole organism as an interconnected system. It emphasizes the interactions between different organs, tissues, and regulatory networks. Imagine your body as a complex machine with many interacting parts. Aging isn't just about individual parts wearing out. It's about how the entire system starts to break down. For example, changes in the immune system can affect the brain, and changes in the gut microbiome can affect the immune system. Everything is connected. The systems biology approach uses sophisticated computer models and data analysis to understand these complex interactions. By mapping out these networks, we can potentially identify new targets for intervention that address the root causes of aging rather than just treating the symptoms. Maybe it's about bolstering the overall systems, for example, and how to restore balance to the whole machine. Another interesting area of research is focused on epigenetics. We've talked about genetics, the actual sequence of our DNA, but epigenetics is about how our genes are expressed, which genes are turned on or off, and how much of each protein is produced. Think of it like a dimmer switch for our genes. As we age, these epigenetic patterns can become disrupted, leading to changes in cellular function and increased risk of age-related diseases. It's as if the dimmer switches are malfunctioning, causing some genes to be overly active and others to be turned off completely. The good news is that epigenetic changes are potentially reversible. Unlike mutations in our DNA sequence, epigenetic marks can be modified. Researchers are exploring ways to reprogram our cells, restoring more youthful epigenetic patterns. This could involve using drugs that target specific epigenetic enzymes or even lifestyle interventions like diet and exercise that can influence epigenetic modifications. Don't forget about the hormesis theory. This one's a bit counterintuitive, but it suggests that low doses of certain stressors can actually be beneficial for longevity. It's like vaccinating yourself, strengthening yourself. Think of it like this. A small amount of exercise stresses your muscles, but this stress triggers a response that makes them stronger. Similarly, exposure to low levels of toxins or radiation might activate cellular defense mechanisms that protect against aging. Caloric restriction, which we'll talk about later, is a classic example of hormesis, a slightly reducing calorie intake. You put your body under mild stress, which triggers cellular repair processes and extends lifespan, at least in some organisms. The key, of course, is finding the right dose. Too much stress is harmful, but just the right amount can be beneficial. Scientists are exploring different hormetic interventions, such as intermittent fasting and exposure to mild heat or cold, to see if they can promote healthy aging. Then there's the inflammaging theory, and it's all about chronic inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation is a hallmark of aging and a major contributor to age-related diseases. This isn't the acute inflammation you experience after an injury. It's a persistent, smoldering inflammation throughout the body. The causes of inflammaging are complex, but they include factors like cellular senescence, gut dysbiosis, and the accumulation of damaged molecules. This ongoing inflammation damages tissues and organs, accelerating the aging process. Researchers are exploring ways to combat inflammaging, such as through diet, exercise, and anti-inflammatory drugs. The goal is to dampen down the inflammatory response and protect against the harmful effects of chronic inflammation. And lastly, something to keep in mind is the network theory of aging. Aging is not a linear process with one single cause. It's a complex web of interconnected factors. This theory emphasizes the importance of understanding these networks and how they interact to influence lifespan. From DNA damage and oxidative stress to inflammation and hormonal changes, it's all intertwined. By studying these networks, we can potentially identify the key nodes, the critical points that have the biggest impact on aging. Targeting these nodes with multiple interventions might be more effective than focusing on any single pathway in isolation. These emerging theories offer a glimpse into the future of aging research. They highlight the complexity of the aging process and the need for a holistic approach that considers the whole organism and its interconnected systems. It's not about finding a single magic bullet, but rather about understanding the intricate web of factors that contribute to aging and developing interventions that target multiple pathways simultaneously. While there's no guarantee that we'll be able to stop aging completely, these theories offer hope that we can significantly slow it down and extend healthy lifespan. All right, let's talk senolytics. This is where things get really interesting in the fight against aging. Because we're not just talking about slowing down the process. We're talking about actively removing a key component of it, senescent cells. Remember those zombie cells we talked about earlier? The ones that are still alive, but not functioning properly, and are actually spewing out inflammatory signals that damage surrounding tissues? Well, senolytics are designed to selectively kill these senescent cells, leaving healthy cells untouched. It's like precision weeding in your garden, getting rid of the plants that are choking out the good ones. The science behind senolytics is relatively new, but it's built on decades of research into cellular senescence. Researchers realize that senescent cells, while harmful, also have unique vulnerabilities. They often rely on specific survival pathways to stay alive, even though they're damaged. Senolytics exploit these vulnerabilities. Think of it like this. Senescent cells are like heavily armored tanks, but they have a weak spot in their fuel line. Senolytics are the anti-tank weapons specifically designed to target that fuel line, disabling the tank without damaging the surrounding infantry. So, what are these anti-tank weapons, these specific senolytic therapies? Let's dive into some of the most promising ones. First up, we have dasatinib and quercetin, often referred to as the DQ combination. Dasatinib is a tyrosine kinase inhibitor, originally developed to treat leukemia. It works by blocking certain signaling pathways that senescent cells rely on for survival. Quercetin, on the other hand, is a natural flavonoid found in many fruits and vegetables, like onions and apples. It acts as a senolytic by inhibiting another set of survival pathways and enhancing the effects of dasatinib. The beauty of this combination is that they work synergistically. Dasatinib weakens the senescent cell's defenses, while quercetin delivers the final blow. Studies in mice have shown that DQ can reduce senescent cell burden, improve physical function, and even extend lifespan. Human trials are still ongoing, but early results are promising, showing improvements in physical performance and reductions in markers of inflammation. Then there's fisetin, another flavonoid similar to quercetin, found in strawberries, mangoes, and other fruits. Fisetin has shown strong senolytic activity in preclinical studies, and some researchers believe it might even be more potent than quercetin in certain situations. It appears to target a broader range of senescent cell types. The mechanisms of action of fisetin aren't entirely clear, but it's thought to involve multiple pathways, including inhibiting certain kinases and modulating cellular stress responses. Mouse studies have demonstrated that fisetin can extend lifespan and improve health span, particularly in older animals. We're seeing increased interest in fisetin supplementation because its potential benefits are intriguing. However, like with all senolytics, long-term human trials are necessary to fully understand its safety and efficacy. Another promising avenue is the development of BH3 mimetics. These are drugs that mimic the action of BH3 proteins, which are involved in initiating apoptosis or programmed cell death. Senescent cells often have an increased expression of anti-apoptic proteins, which prevent them from self-destructing. BH3 mimetics counter this by binding to and neutralizing these anti-apoptotic proteins, essentially tipping the balance in favor of cell death. Navitoclax is one example of a BH3 mimetic that has shown senolytic activity. However, navitoclax can also affect platelets, which are important for blood clotting, so it has a potential for side effects. Researchers are working on developing more selective BH3 mimetics that target senescent cells specifically, without affecting healthy cells or platelets. Beyond these specific drugs, researchers are also exploring natural compounds with senolytic properties. Compounds like curcumin, found in turmeric, and epigallocochin gallati, EGCG, found in green tea, have shown some senolytic activity in lab studies. While their effects might be less potent than targeted drugs like dasatinib or fisetin, they offer a potential for gentler, more preventative approach to managing senescent cell burden. It's important to note that the field of senolytics is still in its early stages. We're still learning about the different types of senescent cells, the specific vulnerabilities they possess, and the best ways to target them without causing harm to healthy tissues. One of the biggest challenges is developing senolytics that are highly selective for senescent cells and have minimal off-target effects. Think about it. If you're trying to kill cancer cells with chemotherapy, you're willing to accept some collateral damage because the cancer is a life-threatening condition. But with senolytics, we're targeting aging, which is a natural process. You want to improve health span and quality of life, not introduce new health problems. Another challenge is determining the optimal dosing and timing of senolytic therapies. Should they be taken continuously or intermittently? What's the ideal frequency and duration of treatment? These are questions that require careful investigation. Furthermore, we need to consider the potential long-term effects of senolytic therapy. What happens if we eliminate senescent cells too aggressively or for too long? Could this disrupt important biological processes that senescent cells might be involved in, such as wound healing or tissue repair? These are important questions that researchers are actively exploring. The research in senolytics is promising, and the potential benefits are significant. However, it's crucial to approach this field with a healthy dose of skepticism and to rely on evidence-based information rather than hype. Human trials are crucial to establish the safety and efficacy of senolytic therapies before they can be widely adopted. In the meantime, can focus on lifestyle factors that have been shown to reduce senescent cell burden, such as regular exercise, a healthy diet, and stress management. These interventions can help to keep our cells healthy and functioning optimally, reducing the accumulation of senescent cells in the first place. Ultimately, the goal of senolytic therapy is not just to extend lifespan, but to extend health span, the period of life spent in good health and free from disease. By targeting and eliminating senescent cells, we hope to improve physical function, reduce age-related diseases, and enable people to live longer, healthier, and more fulfilling lives. The journey is ongoing, but the potential is truly transformative, all right? Let's talk about regenerative medicine, arguably one of the most exciting frontiers in the quest to not just extend lifespan, but to genuinely improve the quality of life as we age. Forget simply staving off death. We're talking about actually repairing the damage that time inflicts on our bodies. This isn't science fiction anymore. It's rapidly becoming a reality. At the heart of regenerative medicine lies the concept of harnessing the body's own healing capabilities. Think about it. We already possess remarkable abilities to repair injuries. A cut heals, a broken bone mends. But these processes become less efficient as we age. Regenerative medicine seeks to amplify these inherent abilities, focusing on replacing or regenerating damaged cells, tissues, or even entire organs. Two major avenues are being explored: stem cell research and tissue engineering. Let's start with stem cells because they are truly amazing. Stem cells are essentially the body's raw materials, the blank slates from which all other cells with specialized functions are generated. They're like the ultimate repair crew, ready and able to transform into whatever cell type is needed. To fix a problem, there are two primary types of stem cells: embryonic stem cells and adult stem cells. Embryonic stem cells, as the name suggests, are derived from early-stage embryos. They're pluripotent, meaning they have the potential to differentiate into any cell type in the body. This makes them incredibly versatile for research and potential therapies, but also raises ethical concerns due to their source. Adult stem cells, on the other hand, are found in various tissues and organs throughout the body. They are multipotent, meaning they can differentiate into a limited range of cell types, usually those related to their tissue of origin. For example, bone marrow contains stem cells that can give rise to various blood cells. The potential applications of stem cell therapy are vast. Imagine using stem cells to regenerate damaged heart tissue after a heart attack, to repair spinal cord injuries, to treat neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, or even to regrow lost limbs.
Well, we're not quite there.
Yet with limb regeneration in humans, the progress in animal models has been truly remarkable and has fueled intense excitement. But how does it work? The basic idea is to isolate stem cells, either from the patient themselves or from a compatible donor, and then coax them to differentiate into the desired cell type. This can be done in a lab setting using specific growth factors and other signaling molecules. Once the cells are ready, they're transplanted into the damaged area, where they can begin to repair and regenerate the tissue. Now, there are significant challenges. One major hurdle is controlling the differentiation process. We need to ensure that the stem cells become the right type of cell and that they integrate properly into the surrounding tissue. Another challenge is preventing the transplanted cells from being rejected by the patient's immune system. This is why using a patient's own stem cells is often preferred, as it minimizes the risk of rejection. Let's move on to tissue engineering. While stem cell therapy focuses on using cells to repair and regenerate tissues in situ, tissue engineering takes a slightly different approach. It involves creating functional tissues or organs outside the body in a lab setting, and then implanting them into the patient. Think of it like building replacement parts for the body. The process typically involves seeding cells onto a scaffold, which is a three-dimensional structure that provides support and guidance for tissue growth. The scaffold can be made from various materials, including natural polymers, synthetic polymers, and even decellularized organs. Decellularization is a particularly fascinating technique. It involves removing all the cells from a donor organ, leaving behind only the extracellular matrix, the structural framework that supports the cells. This matrix retains the organ's original shape and structure, providing an ideal scaffold for seeding with new cells. Once the cells are seeded onto the scaffold, they're cultured in a bioreactor, a specialized device that provides the optimal environment for tissue growth. The bioreactor controls temperature, oxygen levels, nutrient supply, and other factors to promote cell proliferation and differentiation after a period of culture. The engineered tissue or organ is ready for implantation. This could involve replacing a damaged section of bone, grafting new skin onto a burn victim, or even implanting a bioengineered bladder. One of the most successful examples of tissue engineering is the development of bioengineered skin. This has been a life-saving treatment for burn victims, providing a permanent replacement for damaged skin. Other promising areas of research include engineering cartilage for joint repair, blood vessels for bypass surgery, and even entire organs like livers and kidneys, like stem cell therapy. Tissue engineering faces significant challenges. One major hurdle is creating tissues and organs that are fully functional and that can integrate seamlessly with the body's existing systems. Another challenge is vascularization, ensuring that the engineered tissue has an adequate blood supply to provide oxygen and nutrients. Both stem cell research and tissue engineering are rapidly advancing fields, driven by breakthroughs in cell biology, materials, science, and engineering. While many of these therapies are still in the experimental stages, the potential benefits are enormous. These approaches offer the promise of not just treating diseases and injuries, but of actually reversing the effects of aging. Of course, there are ethical considerations to keep in mind. The use of embryonic stem cells raises complex moral questions. As regenerative medicine becomes more advanced, we need to consider issues of access, affordability, and the potential for misuse. But With careful regulation and ethical oversight, these technologies have the potential to transform healthcare and to help us live healthier, longer lives. The future of regenerative medicine is incredibly bright, offering a tantalizing glimpse into a world where the body's ability to heal and regenerate is fully unlocked. It truly is a field to watch. Genetic engineering, gene therapy. For decades, these concepts lived primarily in the realm of science fiction, fueling our imaginations, with both utopian visions and dystopian nightmares. But the future is now. These are no longer just theoretical possibilities. They're becoming tangible realities, holding the potential to fundamentally rewrite the rules of aging as we understand them. So what exactly are we talking about? Its core, genetic engineering, in the context of aging, is about directly manipulating our genes to promote longevity and health span. It's about identifying the genes that play a crucial role in the aging process, those that contribute to cellular senescence, DNA damage, inflammation, and other age-related decline, and then finding ways to modify them, either to enhance their beneficial effects or to mitigate their harmful ones. Think of our DNA as an incredibly complex instruction manual. This manual contains all the information needed to build and maintain our bodies. Genetic engineering allows us to go into that manual and make precise edits, correcting typos, strengthening weak sections, or even adding new instructions altogether. One of the most promising tools in this arsenal is gene editing. Gene editing technologies like CRISPR-Cas9 are revolutionizing the field of biology, giving us unprecedented power to target and modify specific DNA sequences with remarkable precision. CRISPR-Cas9 acts like a molecular pair of scissors, allowing us to cut DNA at a specific location and then either delete that section, place it with a new sequence, or even just disrupt its function. The possibilities for applying this technology to combat aging are vast. Imagine, for example, that we identify a gene that contributes to the accumulation of senescent cells. Using CRISPR, we could potentially edit that gene to reduce its activity, thereby slowing down the process of cellular senescence and extending the lifespan of our tissues and organs. Or consider the case of telomeres, those protective caps at the end of our chromosomes that shorten with each cell division, ultimately contributing to cellular aging. Researchers are exploring ways to use gene therapy to deliver the gene for telomeres, the enzyme that rebuilds telomeres, back into our cells. This could, in theory, extend the lifespan of our cells and potentially delay the onset of age-related diseases. But gene editing isn't the only approach. Gene therapy offers another powerful strategy, focusing on delivering new genetic material into cells to correct defects or enhance function. Unlike gene editing, which aims to permanently alter the DNA sequence, gene therapy often involves introducing a working copy of a gene, mutated into cells to compensate for a faulty or missing one. This could be particularly useful for addressing age-related diseases caused by genetic mutations. For instance, researchers are exploring gene therapy approaches to treat conditions like Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease, which are often associated with specific gene defects. Now, let's talk about some specific examples of genes that are being targeted in aging research. One prominent example is the FOXO family of genes. These genes play a crucial role in regulating cellular stress resistance, DNA repair, and metabolism. Studies in various organisms, from yeast to worms to mice, have shown that increasing the activity of FOXO genes can significantly extend lifespan and improve health span. Researchers are now investigating ways to enhance FOXO activity in humans, either through gene therapy or through drugs that mimic the effects of FOXO activation. Another area of intense research focuses on genes involved in cellular senescence. As we discussed earlier, senescent cells accumulate with age, contributing to inflammation and tissue dysfunction. Scientists are exploring ways to use gene editing to selectively eliminate these senescent cells, effectively rejuvenating tissues. In organs, the sirtuin genes are also a major area of interest. These genes are involved in regulating metabolism, inflammation, and DNA repair. Studies have shown that activating sirtuin genes can extend lifespan in various organisms. Resveratrol, a compound found in red wine, is believed to activate sirtuin genes, although the evidence for its effectiveness in humans is still debated. However, it's crucial to acknowledge that genetic engineering and gene therapy are not without their challenges and potential risks. Off-target effects, where the gene editing tool inadvertently modifies the wrong DNA sequence, are a major concern. These unintended edits could have unpredictable and potentially harmful consequences. Another challenge is delivery. Getting the gene editing or gene therapy tool to the right cells and tissues in the body can be difficult. Viruses are often used as vectors to deliver genetic material into cells, but there are concerns about the safety and immunogenicity of these viral vectors. Moreover, ethical considerations are paramount. Should we be tampering with the human genome to extend lifespan? What are the potential societal implications of extending human life significantly? Who will have access to these technologies, and what will be the impact on inequality? These are complex questions that require careful consideration and open public debate. The field of genetic engineering and gene therapy for aging is still in its early stages. Most of the research has been done in animal models, and we are only beginning to explore the potential of these technologies in humans. Clinical trials are underway to evaluate the safety and efficacy of gene therapy for certain age-related diseases, but it will likely be several years before we know the full potential and limitations of these approaches. Despite the challenges and uncertainties, the potential benefits of genetic engineering and gene therapy for aging are enormous. If we can successfully harness the power of these technologies, we could potentially prevent or delay the onset of age-related diseases, extend our health span, and improve the quality of life for millions of people. It's a long and complex road ahead, but the journey is underway, and the potential rewards are truly transformative. Genetic engineering and gene therapy offer a glimpse into a future where aging is no longer an inevitable decline, but a process that can be actively managed and even perhaps reversed. It's a future where we can live longer, healthier, and more fulfilling lives, a future that is engineered for longevity. All right. Let's talk about something that's absolutely crucial to our overall health and longevity, our gut. I know, it might not be the most glamorous topic, but trust me. Understanding what's going on in your digestive system is a game changer when it comes to aging. We're talking about the gut microbiome, that incredible community of trillions of bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other microorganisms that call our digestive tract home. It's like a bustling metropolis of life inside you. And just like any city, its health and harmony directly impact the health of the entire organism in this case. For years, we mostly thought of these microbes as just being involved in digestion, helping us break down food and absorb nutrients. And while that's definitely a crucial part of their job, it's only scratching the surface. We now know that the gut microbiome is involved in a huge range of processes, influencing everything from our immune system to our brain function. And yes, even how we age. So how does this relate to aging? Well, as we get older, the composition and diversity of our gut microbiome tends to change. Often, we see a decrease in beneficial bacteria and an increase in potentially harmful ones. This shift, known as dysbiosis, can contribute to a whole host of age-related problems. Think of it like this: a healthy, balanced microbiome is like a well-maintained garden. You have a variety of plants working together, keeping the soil healthy and thriving. But an unbalanced microbiome, dysbiosis, is like that same garden overgrown with weeds, choking out the beneficial plants. This imbalance can lead to inflammation, weakened immunity, impaired nutrient absorption, all factors that accelerate the aging process. One of the key ways the gut microbiome impacts aging is through its influence on inflammation. As we covered earlier, chronic inflammation, often called inflammaging, is a major driver of age-related diseases. And the gut microbiome plays a significant role in regulating inflammation throughout the body. A healthy gut lining acts as a barrier, preventing harmful substances from leaking into the bloodstream. But when the gut microbiome is out of balance, this barrier can become compromised, leading to what's known as leaky gut. This allows bacteria and toxins to enter the bloodstream, triggering an inflammatory response. The gut also plays a vital role in producing short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs. These SCFAs, like butyrate, acetate, and propionate, are produced when gut bacteria ferment dietary fiber. They have potent anti-inflammatory effects, helping to maintain gut health and protect against chronic diseases. As we age and our gut microbiome becomes less diverse, SCFA production often declines, further contributing to inflammation. Beyond inflammation, the gut microbiome also affects our immune system, and believe me, the connection is a huge deal. A significant portion of our immune system resides in the gut. The gut microbiome helps to train and regulate these immune cells. A balanced microbiome promotes a healthy immune response, protecting us from infections and autoimmune diseases. However, with age-related changes in the gut microbiome, the immune system can become dysregulated. This can lead to a weakened immune response, making us more susceptible to infections. Or it can lead to an overactive immune response, contributing to chronic inflammation and autoimmune disorders. And it doesn't stop there. The gut microbiome even influences our brain health, and this is the exciting stuff. The gut-brain axis is a bidirectional communication network connecting the gut and the brain. Through this axis, the gut microbiome can influence brain function, mood, and even cognitive abilities. An unbalanced gut microbiome can disrupt this communication, contributing to anxiety, depression, and cognitive decline. Some gut bacteria produce neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, which play a crucial role in regulating mood. Changes in the gut microbiome can affect the production of these neurotransmitters, influencing our emotional well-being. Furthermore, the gut microbiome can also impact cognitive function by affecting brain inflammation and the production of neuroprotective factors. A healthy gut microbiome supports brain health and helps to protect against age-related cognitive decline. So, what can we do to promote a healthy gut microbiome and potentially slow down the aging process? The good news is that there are several lifestyle factors that we can control. First and foremost, diet is absolutely critical. A diet rich in fiber, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains provides the fuel that beneficial gut bacteria need to thrive. Fiber, in particular, is essential for SCFA production. On the other hand, a diet high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats can negatively impact the gut microbiome, promoting the growth of harmful bacteria and contributing to inflammation. So, focusing on a whole foods, plant-based diet is a great way to support gut health. Probiotics and prebiotics can also be beneficial. Probiotics are live microorganisms that can help to replenish beneficial bacteria in the gut. They can be found in fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi, as well as in supplement form. Prebiotics, on the other hand, are non-digestible fibers that feed beneficial gut bacteria, helping them to grow and thrive. Prebiotics can be found in foods like garlic, onions, asparagus, and bananas. Beyond diet, other lifestyle factors also play a role. Regular exercise can help to increase gut microbial diversity and reduce inflammation. Stress management is also important, as chronic stress can negatively impact the gut microbiome. And of course, getting enough sleep is essential for overall health, including gut health. Emerging research is also exploring more targeted interventions for manipulating the gut microbiome. Fecal microbiota transplantation, or FMT, involves transferring fecal matter from a healthy donor to a recipient in order to restore a healthy gut microbiome. FMT has shown promise in treating certain gut disorders. Researchers are exploring its potential applications for other conditions, including age-related diseases. The gut microbiome is a complex and dynamic ecosystem that plays a crucial role in our overall health and longevity. By understanding how the gut microbiome impacts aging, and by taking steps to promote a healthy gut, can potentially slow down the aging process and improve our quality of life as we get older. It's a fascinating field, and I can't wait to see what future research reveals about the power of the gut. Okay, Let's talk about the promise of nanotechnology. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, doesn't it?
Tiny robots.
Swimming through your bloodstream, repairing damage at the cellular level. While we're not quite there yet, the potential of nanotechnology, especially in the realm of nanomedicine, is incredibly exciting when it comes to combating the effects of aging. So what exactly is nanotechnology? Simplest terms, it's the manipulation of matter on an atomic and molecular scale. We're talking about structures and devices with dimensions between 1 and 100 nanometers. To give you some perspective, a nanometer is 1/1000th of a meter. That's incredibly small. Think about comparing the size of a marble to the size of the Earth. That gives you an idea of the scales we're working with. At this size, materials exhibit unique properties, different from what they display at larger scales. And these unique properties are what make them so promising for medical applications. Now, how can these tiny particles help us live longer and healthier lives? Well, the idea is that we can engineer these nanoparticles to target specific processes associated with aging, addressing the root causes of age-related decline. We've talked in previous episodes about cellular senescence, oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, inflammation, and more. Nanomedicine offers potential solutions for all these. One of the most exciting applications of nanomedicine is targeted drug delivery. Traditional drug delivery methods often distribute medication throughout the entire body, leading to side effects and reduced efficacy. Nanoparticles, however, can be designed to deliver drugs directly to the cells or tissues where they're needed most. For example, imagine nanoparticles loaded with senolytic drugs, specifically designed to seek out and destroy senescent cells. These senolytic nanoparticles could circulate through the bloodstream, identifying senescent cells based on specific markers on their surface, and then release their payload, eliminating those cells without harming healthy tissue. This targeted approach minimizes side effects and maximizes the therapeutic effect. Another area where nanotechnology holds great promise is in combating oxidative stress.
Nice.
As we discussed earlier, oxidative stress caused by free radicals contributes significantly to aging. Nanoparticles can be engineered to act as antioxidants, neutralizing these free radicals and protecting cells from damage. For instance, cerium oxide nanoparticles have shown great potential as potent antioxidants. Can continuously regenerate their antioxidant properties, providing long-lasting protection against oxidative damage. These nanoparticles could be delivered to specific areas of the body prone to oxidative stress, such as the brain or the heart, reducing the impact of free radicals on those tissues. Mitochondrial dysfunction is another hallmark of aging. Nanoparticles can be designed to target mitochondria, delivering therapeutic agents directly to these cellular powerhouses. This could involve delivering antioxidants to reduce oxidative damage within the mitochondria, or delivering molecules that enhance mitochondrial function and energy production. Imagine nanoparticles carrying CoQ10, a vital coenzyme for mitochondrial function, directly into the mitochondria, boosting their energy output and reducing cellular aging. Furthermore, nanotechnology offers possibilities for repairing damaged tissues and organs. Nanomaterials can be used as scaffolds for tissue regeneration, providing a framework for cells to grow and rebuild damaged areas. For example, researchers are exploring the use of nanoparticles to create biocompatible scaffolds that can be implanted into damaged tissues, promoting cell growth and tissue repair. This could be particularly beneficial for age-related conditions, like osteoarthritis, where cartilage damage is a major issue. Nanoparticles could be used to deliver growth factors and other therapeutic agents directly to the damaged cartilage, stimulating its regeneration and reducing pain and inflammation. The chronic low-grade inflammation we call inflammaging is another critical target. Nanoparticles can be designed to deliver anti-inflammatory drugs directly to sites of inflammation, reducing the inflammatory response and preventing further damage. This targeted approach can minimize the side effects associated with systemic anti-inflammatory drugs, while maximizing their therapeutic effect. Beyond these specific applications, nanotechnology also offers powerful tools for diagnostics. Nanoparticles can be used as contrast agents in medical imaging, allowing doctors to detect age-related diseases at an early stage. For example, Nanoparticles could be designed to bind to specific biomarkers associated with cancer or Alzheimer's disease, making these diseases more easily detectable through imaging techniques like MRI or PET scans. Early detection is crucial for effective treatment, and nanotechnology can play a significant role in improving diagnostic accuracy and speed. Of course, with any emerging technology, there are challenges and potential risks. The long-term effects of nanoparticles on the body are still not fully understood. There are concerns about their potential toxicity and their ability to accumulate in certain organs. Rigorous testing and safety evaluations are essential to ensure that these nanomedicine applications are safe and effective. It is critical that scientists perform detailed evaluations on how these nanoparticles might impact us long-term. We also need to consider the ethical implications of using nanotechnology to extend human lifespan. As with any life extension technology, there are concerns about accessibility, affordability, and the potential for exacerbating existing inequalities. If these technologies become available, it's important to ensure that they are accessible to everyone, not just the wealthy. Despite these challenges, the potential benefits of nanomedicine for combating aging are immense. It offers a new paradigm for addressing the root causes of age-related decline, with the potential to significantly extend human lifespan and improve the quality of life. As research continues and technology advances, we can expect to see even more innovative applications of nanotechnology in the fight against aging. The journey of nanotechnology into the realm of aging is still in its early stages, but the future is undeniably bright. With continued research, careful evaluation, and ethical considerations, nanomedicine has the potential to revolutionize how we approach aging and pave the way for a healthier, longer future for us all. It's a field to watch closely, a field that could redefine our understanding of what's possible in the quest for longevity. And now, let's tackle the elephant in the room. The ethical tightrope we have to walk when we start talking about extending human life. It's one thing to research and develop these potential therapies, but it's a whole other ballgame to consider the societal implications, the potential inequalities, and the philosophical questions that arise when we start messing with the very nature of aging. This isn't just about science. It's about our values, our priorities, the kind of future we want to build. Think about it. If we actually succeed in significantly extending human lifespan, who gets access to these treatments? Will it be a luxury available only to the wealthy? Further widening the gap between the haves and have-nots. Imagine a world where the rich live to 150, enjoying extended health and vitality, while the rest of the population remains stuck with the current lifespan. That's a recipe for social unrest, resentment, and a deeply unjust society. And it's not just about wealth. What about access based on location, ethnicity, or even personal choices? Will insurance companies cover these expensive treatments? Governments subsidize them? How do we ensure that everyone has a fair shot at living a longer, healthier life, regardless of their background or circumstances? These are tough questions, and there are no easy answers. Then there's the question of overpopulation. Our planet is already struggling to support the current population, with issues like climate change, resource depletion, and food scarcity becoming increasingly pressing. If we suddenly extend everyone's lifespan, will we exacerbate these problems? Will we run out of resources? Will we overcrowd the planet, leading to social and environmental collapse? Some argue that technological advancements will keep pace, allowing us to produce more food, develop sustainable energy sources, and even colonize other planets. But that's a big gamble. We need to carefully consider the potential consequences of extending lifespan on a global scale. We need to start planning for these challenges now. Another concern is the impact on the job market. If people are living and working much longer, will there be enough jobs to go around? Will younger generations be stuck waiting for older workers to retire, hindering their career advancement and innovation? We might need to rethink our traditional models of education, work, and retirement to adapt to a society where people are active and productive for a much longer period. And what about the psychological and emotional toll of living longer? Will people be happy living for 120, 150, or even longer? No. Will they find meaning and purpose in their extended lives? Or will they become bored, jaded, and disconnected from the world around them? The prospect of living for centuries might sound appealing, but it also raises questions about mental health, social connections, and the overall quality of life. Furthermore, think about the potential for misuse and abuse. What if governments or corporations use longevity technologies for their own purposes, such as creating a perpetually young and healthy workforce, or extending the lifespan of dictators and authoritarian rulers? We need to establish clear ethical guidelines and regulations to prevent these kinds of dystopian scenarios from becoming reality. Beyond the practical concerns, there are also deep philosophical questions to consider. What does it mean to be human? Is aging an essential part of the human experience? Does striving for immortality diminish the value of life? Some argue that embracing our mortality is what gives life meaning, that knowing our time is limited encourages us to appreciate every moment and to make the most of our lives. Extending lifespan could fundamentally alter our relationship with death. It's potentially changing our values, our priorities, and even our sense of self. We need to have a serious conversation about these philosophical implications before we embark on a path that could irreversibly change the nature of human existence. Of course, it's not all doom and gloom. There are also potential benefits to extending human lifespan. Imagine a world where people have more time to learn, to create, to contribute to society, where they can pursue multiple careers, deepen their relationships, and experience more of what life has to offer. A longer lifespan could lead to increased innovation, creativity, and wisdom. Older people could serve as mentors, advisors, and repositories of knowledge, passing down their experiences and insights to younger generations. They could also contribute to solving some of the world's most pressing problems, bringing their experience and perspective to bear on complex challenges. Ultimately, the ethics of extending human life are complex and multifaceted. There are potential risks and benefits, and there are no easy answers. But one thing is clear. We need to start having these conversations now, before the technology outpaces our ability to think critically and ethically about its implications. We need to involve scientists, ethicists, policymakers, and the public in a broad and open dialogue about the future of aging. We need to consider the potential consequences of our actions, and we need to develop ethical guidelines and regulations that ensure that these technologies are used responsibly and equitably. The future of aging is not just a scientific question. It's a societal one, and it's one that we all need to be a part of. All right. So we've explored quite a bit about aging so far. We've delved into the cellular level, examined the role of our genes, and even looked at the impact of lifestyle factors. Now, let's shift our focus to the future. What exciting avenues of research are on the horizon, and what potential breakthroughs might lead to healthier, longer lives? One incredibly promising area is the development of more refined senolytic therapies. Remember those senescent cells? We talked about the ones that accumulate with age and contribute to inflammation and tissue dysfunction. Well, while the first generation of senolytics has shown some real promise, they're still relatively broad in their action. They target multiple pathways and can sometimes have off-target effects. The future lies in developing senolytics that are far more precise, targeting specific types of senescent cells in specific tissues. Imagine a senolytic drug that only eliminates senescent immune cells in the lungs or senescent cartilage cells in the joints. This level of precision would minimize side effects and maximize the therapeutic benefits. We're talking about a truly personalized approach to aging, where treatments are tailored to an individual's specific needs and the unique profile of their senescent cell burden. Another exciting area is the exploration of epigenetic reprogramming. Epigenetics, as you might recall, refers to the modifications to our DNA that don't change the underlying genetic code itself, but rather affect how our genes are expressed. As we age, our epigenetic landscape becomes disrupted, leading to altered gene expression patterns that contribute to age-related decline. Epigenetic reprogramming aims to reset these age-related epigenetic changes, effectively turning back the clock on our cells. While still in its early stages, research in this area has shown remarkable results, including the ability to rejuvenate tissues and even extend lifespan in animal models. The challenge now is to find safe and effective ways to translate these findings to humans and to develop epigenetic therapies that can be targeted to specific tissues and organs. Stem cell research continues to be a hot topic in the field of aging, for good reason. Stem cells have the remarkable ability to differentiate into a variety of cell types, making them a powerful tool for repairing and regenerating damaged tissues. While stem cell therapies have already shown promise in treating certain age-related conditions such as arthritis and macular degeneration, there's still much to learn about how to optimize their therapeutic potential. One key area of research is the development of methods to improve the engraftment and survival of transplanted stem cells, ensuring that they integrate properly into the host tissue and function effectively. Another focus is on harnessing the power of endogenous stem cells, the stem cells that already reside within our own bodies. By stimulating these cells to proliferate and differentiate, we may be able to promote tissue regeneration from within, without the need for transplantation. Let's not forget the gut microbiome. We've talked about its profound influence on overall health, and it turns out it also plays a significant role in aging. As we get older, the composition and diversity of our gut microbiome changes, often becoming less diverse and more prone to dysbiosis, an imbalance in the gut microbial community. This dysbiosis can contribute to inflammation, immune dysfunction, and other age-related problems. Research is now focused on identifying specific gut microbes that promote healthy aging, and on developing interventions to restore a youthful gut microbiome. This could involve strategies such as fecal microbiota transplantation, where the gut microbes from a young, healthy individual are transferred to an older individual, or the development of targeted probiotics and prebiotics that selectively promote the growth of beneficial gut bacteria. Nanotechnology offers another intriguing avenue for combating aging. Nanoparticles, tiny structures measured in billionths of a meter, can be engineered to deliver drugs, genes, or other therapeutic agents directly to specific cells and tissues within the body. This targeted delivery can minimize side effects and maximize the effectiveness of treatments. In the context of aging, nanoparticles could be used to deliver antioxidants to mitochondria, to remove senescent cells from tissues, or to repair damaged DNA. While still in its early stages, research in nanomedicine holds immense potential for revolutionizing treatment of age-related diseases and promoting healthy aging. Of course, understanding the fundamental biology of aging remains a crucial area of research. We need to continue to unravel the complex interplay of factors that contribute to the aging process, from the cellular level to the whole organism level. This includes identifying new genes and pathways involved in aging, understanding how these pathways interact with each other, and developing new models to study aging in the laboratory. Advanced technologies like genomics, proteomics, and metabolomics are providing unprecedented insights into the molecular mechanisms of aging, allowing us to identify potential therapeutic targets with greater precision. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are also playing an increasingly important role in aging research. These technologies can be used to analyze vast amounts of data from biological samples, clinical trials, and population studies, identifying patterns and correlations that would be impossible for humans to detect. AI algorithms can also be used to predict the effectiveness of different interventions on aging, accelerating the drug discovery process and allowing us to personalize treatments based on an individual's unique characteristics. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. While the future of aging research is undeniably bright, it's important to acknowledge the challenges that lie ahead. Aging is a complex and multifaceted process, and there's no single magic bullet that will stop it. We need to take a holistic approach, combining different interventions that target multiple aspects of aging simultaneously. This includes not only pharmacological interventions, but also lifestyle interventions, such as diet, exercise, and stress management. Ethical considerations are also paramount. As we develop new technologies to extend lifespan, we need to consider the societal implications of these advances. How will these technologies be distributed? Will they be accessible to everyone or only to the wealthy? What will be the impact on healthcare systems, social security, and the environment? These are complex questions that require careful consideration and open discussion. It's also worth noting that while the pursuit of longevity is a worthwhile goal, it shouldn't come at the expense of quality of life. The aim is not simply to live longer, but to live healthier, more fulfilling lives, free from disease and disability. We want to extend our health span, the period of our lives when we are healthy and active. It's not just our lifespan. The future of aging research is a journey, not a destination. It's a continuous process of discovery, innovation, and refinement. While we may not be able to completely stop aging, we can certainly slow it down, delay the onset of age-related diseases, and improve the quality of our lives as we get older. The quest for longevity is not just about adding years to our lives, but about adding life to our years. And with the rapid pace of scientific progress, the future looks brighter than ever. We are truly on the cusp of a new era in aging research, an era where healthy aging is not just a dream, but a realistic possibility for everyone. So here we is. At the end of our journey through the biology of aging. It's been a long and winding road, filled with complex cellular processes, intriguing genetic factors, and emerging scientific breakthroughs. But what have we really learned? And more importantly, what does it mean for you and me as we navigate our own aging journeys? Let's take a step back and recap some of the key findings we've uncovered. We started by defining aging not just as the passage of time, but as a complex biological process characterized by a gradual decline in function at the cellular, tissue, and organ levels. We saw how our cells, the fundamental building blocks of life, undergo changes over time. Cellular senescence, where cells stop dividing and can even secrete harmful substances, plays a significant role. Think of it like some workers in a factory deciding to retire, but then to make matters worse, start throwing garbage out the window on their way out. Not ideal for the overall operation. We also delved into the fascinating world of genetics, exploring how our genes can influence our lifespan and susceptibility to age-related diseases. Certain genes, it turns out, are associated with exceptional longevity, suggesting that some of us are just naturally predisposed to live longer. It's like winning the genetic lottery. Although, as we've learned, genes are just one piece of the puzzle. Then there were telomeres, those protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes that shorten with each cell division. As telomeres get shorter, our cells become more vulnerable to damage and dysfunction. Like the plastic tips on your shoelaces fraying, eventually, the whole shoelace falls apart. We explored the role of mitochondria, the powerhouses of our cells, and how their efficiency declines with age, leading to energy deficits and increased oxidative stress. Think of your car engine becoming less efficient over time, requiring more fuel and producing more exhaust. Speaking of oxidative stress, we learned about the damaging effects of free radicals, those unstable molecules that can wreak havoc on our cells and accelerate the aging process. Imagine your body slowly rusting from the inside out. Inflammation, too, plays a critical role in aging. Chronic low-grade inflammation, often referred to as inflammaging, contributes to a wide range of age-related diseases. It's like a fire, smoldering beneath the surface, slowly causing damage over time. But it wasn't all doom and gloom. We also explored the powerful impact of lifestyle factors on aging. We saw how nutrition, particularly caloric restriction or intermittent fasting, can promote longevity and protect against age-related diseases. It's about giving your body the right fuel and not overworking it. Exercise, of course, is another key player. Regular physical activity can improve cardiovascular health, boost immune function, and enhance cognitive performance, all of which contribute to a longer and healthier life. It's like keeping your engine running smoothly through regular maintenance. And let's not forget the importance of sleep. Quality sleep is essential for cellular repair and rejuvenation. Skimping on sleep can accelerate the aging process and increase your risk of disease. It's like giving your body the time it needs to recharge and repair itself. We also discussed the detrimental effects of chronic stress on the aging process and the importance of managing stress through mindfulness, meditation, or other relaxation techniques. It's about finding ways to calm the storm within. Finally, we touched on environmental factors like pollution and toxins and how they can accelerate aging. Minimizing exposure to these harmful substances is crucial for protecting our health and extending our lifespan. It's about creating a cleaner and healthier environment for our bodies to thrive in. But the story doesn't end there. We also delved into some of the exciting emerging areas of aging research: senolytics, drugs that target and eliminate senescent cells, hold tremendous promise for reversing some of the negative effects of aging. Imagine selectively removing those garbage-throwing retired workers from our factory. Regenerative medicine, including stem cell research and tissue engineering, offers the potential to repair and rejuvenate damaged tissues and organs. It's like having the ability to rebuild parts of your body that have worn out over time. Genetic engineering and gene therapy, while still in their early stages, could potentially modify our genes to extend lifespan and protect against age-related diseases. This raises significant ethical considerations, of course, which we've explored and must continue to address as this technology advances. It's like rewriting the code of life itself, with both incredible potential and potential risks. The gut microbiome, that complex community of microorganisms living in our intestines, is also emerging as a key player in aging. Maintaining a healthy gut microbiome through diet and lifestyle changes can have a profound impact on our overall health and longevity. It's like tending to the garden within us. And finally, we explored the potential of nanotechnology to combat aging, using nanoparticles to deliver drugs, repair damaged cells, and even reverse some of the effects of aging. It's like having tiny robots working inside our bodies to keep everything running smoothly. So what does all of this mean for the future of aging? Well, I think it's clear that we're entering a new era, an era where aging is no longer seen as an inevitable and untreatable process, but as a biological phenomenon that we can understand, influence, and potentially even reverse. The quest for longevity is no longer a pipe dream, but a scientific endeavor with real potential to transform human health and well-being now. That's still firmly in the realm of science fiction, but I do believe that we can significantly extend our health span. The period of our lives where we're healthy, active, and free from disease. We can live longer, yes, but more importantly, we can live better. The future of aging research is bright, with new discoveries and breakthroughs happening all the time. From senolytics to regenerative medicine to gene therapy, the possibilities seem endless. Of course, these technologies also raise ethical considerations, which we must address thoughtfully and responsibly. Ultimately, key to a healthier, longer life lies in a combination of scientific advancements and lifestyle choices. By understanding the biology of aging and taking proactive steps to protect our health, we can all increase our chances of living a long and fulfilling life. So, eat a balanced diet, exercise regularly, get plenty of sleep, manage stress, and stay informed about the latest advances in aging research. It's a journey, not a destination. And every step you take towards a healthier lifestyle will contribute to a longer and more vibrant life. And that, my friends, is the conclusion of our exploration of the biology of aging. I hope you found it Informative, engaging, and inspiring. Now, go out there and live your best life for as long as possible.